All right, we are go for launch.
Good evening and welcome to the January 24th, 2024 meeting of the Henrietta Town Board. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Here.
Councilmember Belanca,
Here.
Councilmember Barley,
Here.
Councilmember Stafford,
Here.
Supervisor Schultz.
Here. We'll begin the meeting with a silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I move that we approve the minutes of the preceding meetings, the organizational meeting of January 2nd, 2024, and the regular meeting, January 2nd, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Here.
Aye.
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. He just approved, didn't notice that it was marked for Mike too. So first up, we have a public hearing for the notice to perform work at 6 Bitternell Lane. So we did revisit the property. They have cleaned up a number of the violations. In fact, I would say most of the violations. There are still a few, there are unplated vehicles still in the driveway. Although since yesterday, they even removed one of those. And then there are still some bins with trash and other scrap. My recommendation, and I will see if a resident or representative of the resident is here or online. But they do have a date coming up in court. We believe it is February 5th. We're trying to verify that. If it's February 5th, then we would essentially reconvene this on the 14th. If they've resolved the issues through court, whether they're finished, resolved, or whether they're at least in progress as dictated by the court, then we would be done. If they fail to show up at court or don't come to any kind of resolution at court, then we would look to do the motion to perform the work. So, but it's my recommendation, and I actually we have a resolution written both ways. So it's up to you guys which way we want to go. But my recommendation would be that we delay the decision to perform work to allow time to resolve through the courts.
Sounds like a great idea.
Is there a representative from either the property owner or the occupant of 6 Bitternell here or online? I did not hear that they were going to be here, but I just wanted to give them a chance to speak in case they wish to. So right now the resolution, like I said, unfortunately we could not, let me double check just in case something came in from when I came down here. We could not confirm the docket. I have it currently written. What I'm going to suggest is right now we have a specific date. My thought is, since the last thing I saw is that it's either on the February docket or the March docket. So my thought is that we modify the resolution. Instead of giving a specific date when we're gonna reconvene, that it's the first town board meeting after their February or March. Court date, does that make sense?
Whenever he or they go to court, do we have a representative there?
We do.
Okay, thank you.
And it's our, Bill Cashin is there as our code enforcement officer, but we also have a prosecuting attorney for the town. And that now is Steve Donsky. Let me just,
So we would have to update him on the progress to date before he goes to court, correct?
well, so he's the one who's updated us on the progress.
Donsky?
Yeah. No, I'm sorry,
Cashin.
Cashin, yeah. And Bill and Steve are meeting, I think this week or next week to go over this case and others, because again, we've just recently changed the prosecuting attorneys.
I wasn't questioning, I was just interested in the process.
No problem. Either way, I do want to send the letter, so we will need to update the letter. Becky, I don't know how we want to do this in terms of. I'm actually looking. Oh, notice there it is. No, notice intent. I'm having trouble finding the actual resolution on our,
It's 3-62.
is it actually in the? Is it in the resolutions list further
have it.
down?
I have it, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I found it. Oh, that's the old one,
Yeah.
because it's now down to just 2 items.
I don't know what's all in it, but I know there's a resolution before it.
Oh, I guess maybe I must have screwed, I don't know, somehow it didn't get translated fully because I did. Let's see.
Just delayed authorization for the town to perform work at 6 Bitternell Lane.
Yeah,
So it's the delay. Can't we?
it is. It doesn't have the latest. I don't know.
Below that you're talking, Steve. Can we just vote to table?
Well, no, because I want to authorize to send the letter. I just want to read this, what it says.
Okay.
Okay, so basically where it currently says. The whereas they have a pending court date on February 5th, that's the issue. We don't know that that's the court date. So maybe what we do is. Rob, how about if we switch? I'll be the one who puts it forward and you be the one who seconds it.
That'll be fine.
Okay, so when I put it forward, I'm gonna strike the date of February 5th. It's just gonna say the property owner has a pending court date regarding the remaining violations during which the remaining violations may be addressed. And then it's gonna say that the town is authorized to notify the property owner that if they fail up to show to court or fail to resolve the remaining issues through the court prior to 1 o'clock on Monday, immediately, how would we phrase that? In terms of, I want it to be the Monday before the town board meeting.
So that's how you would phrase it. And on the Monday before the next town board meeting after the court date,
Following the court. That's our workshop.
after the court
It
date.
is, that's the idea, is I wanted it on the workshop so we'd know the answer.
Right.
Monday,
So,
Following the court date.
uh,
so it would be March 4th.
it would either be February 12th or March 4th, depending on when they have their court. Well, or it could actually be, depending on
Could be
the
later.
court date, it could be 25th.
Couldn't be the 12th if you wanted the Monday before.
This was Monday, February 12th. This is, they have oh, right, so it's the Monday before the town board meeting that immediately follows the court date. So the Monday
Yep.
of the week of the town board meeting. That follow the court date. So the first town board meeting that follows the court date. Okay, so that way we'll the letter will have to be updated similarly, but that's again more of an attachment, so we don't have to phrase it. So and then if that doesn't happen, then it would be that the public hearing will be held at the town board meeting at the first town board meeting follows. Okay. I think the rest of it's okay. Yeah, so I guess this just left the first whereas with the four things. That one iteration, I had narrowed it down to what was remaining. But this one is just talking about what that previous notice was, what the violations were. Which is fine, but I don't know how that. There were too many iterations of it, I guess. Okay. So I'm gonna put forth. Fellow board members, I have resolution 3-62, 2024 to delay the authorization for the town to perform work at 6 Bitternell Lane for numerous code violations until after the upcoming court date, with the following modifications from what is in the town packet. As we don't at this time know precisely when the court date is, we are going to modify the last whereas clause. That says, whereas the property owner has a pending court date regarding the remaining violations. We're gonna strike that on February 5th, 2024, during which the remaining violations may be addressed. We're then going to modify the therefore be it resolved clause so that it says that the town is authorized to notify the property owner that if they fail to show up in court or fail to resolve the remaining issues through the court or prior to 1 p.m. on the Monday of the week of the first town board meeting that follows the court date, a public hearing will be held at the first town board meeting that follows the court date, starting at 6 p.m. in the main meeting room of the Henrietta Town Hall, 475 Calkins Road, during which testimony will be heard with regards to the remaining outstanding violations. The rest of that, of the resolution that I'm putting forth remains as found in the agenda.
And I'll second that. Okay.
Okay. Any discussion beyond what we've already had? Does that all make sense to you, Becky?
Yep, I got it, jotted down on my end.
Okay, I've got it jotted on my end too, so. Okay. Hearing no further discussion, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. I suppose I should officially close the public hearing for the notice to perform work. Again, we will advertise if when we have that date, it'll be advertised as part of the agenda. As well as they will be informed. My plan is to hold the letter off to go out until we tomorrow we should know the actual date. So the letter will have the correct date in it. That. Okay, next up, we have a public hearing for the proposed establishment of extension number 173 to the Henrietta Water District number 1 for the Masonic Care Community. I don't know that we have anyone here from the Masonic Care, but just in case, if there's anyone who wishes to speak.
Yeah, hi. My name is Sean Condon. I'm a senior project engineer with DDS. I'm here representing Masonic Care Community for the Water District Extension. Sometime in mid last month, we submitted the map and legal description and the signed petition for the expansion of the 173 Water District.
Great. This one's pretty straightforward. There won't be district charges for this one since they will be doing all the construction and covering it. So it's just adding it to our water district. Do you have any further comment, or Chris Martin, our Director of Engineering and Planning, do either of you have any further comment? Does the town board have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, then hearing and seeing no further comments, I'm going to close the public hearing for the proposed establishment of extension number 173 to the Henrietta Water District number 1 for the Masonic Care Community. Can I get my next resolution?
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 3-59, 2024. To approve and or ratify the following agreements.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 3-60/2024 to authorize bills payable and any associated contracts or agreements for January 5, 2024 through today, January 24th, 2024.
Seconded.
So this includes over $300,000 worth of court costs. And that the court construction costs. There were a couple other large charges, but that was the big one. And a number of them were just essentially one-time charges. Any other questions, comments?
Seems like the court's coming right along.
It is. We did give our official notice to terminate the lease. Our 6-month notice to terminate our lease on the current building, so we now have an end date.
That's great.
So
So what date, I mean, is it?
we have to be out by the end of July.
Okay, do they have so obviously they have the date there is sometime in May or June that they're gonna,
In terms of when the new
Building's gonna be
the new
ready.
building will be done end of June, early July.
Okay.
So it gives us about a month of wiggle room. So although to be honest, we've been, I'm sure if stuck, our landlord would allow us to stay a little bit longer, but you know, I'm sure he also wants to look at renting that space out in the future, so. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
aye?
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, wow, Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 3-61, 2024. To appoint Kaylee Duda and Sybil Montero as student members to the Youth Development Advisory Committee.
Second?
Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. I'll note that we already acted on resolution 3-62, so I'm gonna jump to 3-63. Fellow board members, I have resolution 3-63, 2024 to establish extension number 173 for the Masonic Care Community, now or formerly located on Erie Station Road to the Henrietta Water District number 1.
Second.
Any discussion beyond what we already had at the public hearing? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca.
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 3-64, 2024. To declare intent to be the lead agency for seeker review for a proposed 1,650 square foot Starbucks coffee shop with drive-through located within the 1100 Jefferson Road Plaza in a commercial B1 zone district.
Second.
Any discussion?
Now, this is just we're not approving it, we're just.
No, just declaring our intent. So basically, it has to wait 30 days. Or by some miracle, never happens, all the other potential agencies respond back sooner than that and say, we don't contest, but rarely does, I've never seen it happen. So basically means we have to wait 30 days. And then we can basically become lead agents. No one's objected. But they still have to present for their special use permit. So we're just getting out ahead of this so that we're lead agent. So we'll also be working with the planning board essentially as an involved agency. So they'll be providing feedback for the seeker process. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca.
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 3-65, 2024. To authorize the extension of special use permit numbers 2023-006 and 007 to construct a 4-story hotel with a proposed height of 60 feet to be known as the Quinta by Wyndham Hotel.
Seconded.
So we did have the meeting this morning with the individuals, the developers of that site. We talked about a number of things. So again, they'd originally put in for a larger hotel at that site. I think it was 2019, or if it was 2020, but it was basically pre-COVID. As you can imagine, all hotels development stopped during COVID, since all hotels were closed. Afterwards, they had looked at the possibility of senior housing instead. However, at that time, that was not an allowed use in that zone. They had talked about a rezone. We weren't super interested in rezoning because we wanted to keep some commercial present. And I wish at the time we had thought of the idea of extending the overlay district, but we hadn't. We then did extend that. In that time, then they went back out. There was renewed interest from Wyndham to put in a smaller hotel. They are going back out and doing another market study. There may be some interest in going back to the dual branded hotel, not as big as what was originally proposed, somewhere in between the two submissions. So there may be, if that does happen, now they had previously been approved for the larger hotel, but that permit expired. We could do it just through, it wouldn't get any taller, but it would have a few more rooms. It really doesn't change the impact of flat, but the approval was specifically for a hotel of the I don't remember what the, well, I guess it was 84 rooms. They'd be looking at closer to 100. And so if they do go that route, then they would come back and we would either approve the modification to the special use permit or not. One of the things we did talk to them about is for that site we had a lot of discussions about that town center area. You know, one of the problems is every major parcel in there has a different owner. And some of the owners, I will say, I'll call it an aggressive stance on what the value of that land is, which has hampered some of the potential for really developing a strong town center there. But one of the things that we've been talking at the town with both the staff internally and with residents who've expressed an interest in it, as well as the folks at the library, it would be great if there was a restaurant in that area. So they are going to actively pursue trying to find a restaurant who would be interested in coming into that front parcel. So it's the one that's on the southwest corner of Fair Avenue and Calkins, so immediately to the east of the library. So they're going to try to find something for that. They think that would actually also be a good tie-in to the hotel. One of the things I made clear to the developers, at one point for the larger hotel, there was talk about pursuing a pilot in conjunction with the Dome. It's a weird thing with the Jobs Plus, in my opinion, in that they could basically say, normally hotels don't qualify, but if they're helping a venue bring in outside, increase the potential for bringing larger outside acts, that does qualify. I said, well, the problem is that Dome is owned by a different individual. We don't know that it's going to exist. So can we tie it to the Dome? And Meta said, no, you can't. So I basically made it clear to the developers, I would fight it tooth and nail. I want to see the Dome survive, but my issue is I'd rather give the pilot to the Dome to help them survive. If we give it to this hotel and 2 days later, the Dome goes out of business, they still get the pilot for the life of their hotel. They're not bringing in any additional business, which is the whole point of the pilot. So it's a strange rule. I don't get it, but I made it clear to them that I would fight it. And they said that based on this particular project, the business model was not based on them getting a pilot. So that was good to hear. So I just wanted to give you an update on where we sit with this. To be honest, it doesn't change, in my opinion, what we can do in response to this, because nothing has changed dramatically. There hasn't been a significant event that would qualify to say, you know what, this which was previously approved, we can now deny. Right. If we were to deny this, it would be seen as arbitrary and capricious. So it'd be silly for us to do it. But I just wanted to give you guys an update because I know there's been a lot of feedback from residents with regards to, oh, does a hotel make sense there? Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, with the way our codes are written, it's an allowed use. Mm-hmm. One of the things that we can take a look at is if we don't think that this type of space, not just this specific space, is not the best place, we can look at where does it make sense for hotels? Do we say in a commercial B1 district that's within X number of feet of an expressway or something like that? We can look at how we scope that down, because right now they can appear in any commercial B1 district. And I will say that there are, in addition to this hotel approval, there were 2 approved on Kenneth. There's another one that is applying shortly on West Henrietta Road. And then there's the former one on West Henrietta Road up Methodist Hill that burned down, that may come back as well. So, like I said, if we think there is a problem with the proliferation of hotels out in the areas where maybe they're not best suited, we should take a look at that. We can't do it in response to a specific application, but if you guys think that that's something we should do, we ought to start putting some together now before we get more applications. That make sense?
Just a procedural question. Any decisions or variances by the zoning board or decisions by the planning board would remain? They don't have to go back through that, do they? Like the height? They
The
must-
height,
they
so
have to
the-
have a variance for that.
No, they don't, because it's in our code, it's not done through a variance, it's done through a special use permit.
Oh.
I don't know why that is, but that was done long ago. So. So that's why, that's what the 07 is, so. Essentially, the special, by extending both 6, which is for to operate a hotel, and 7, which is to have the height of approximately 60 feet. We are extending that, as far as if they'd have gone for a variance for, let's say, parking, then I don't know how, if that could be extended. I don't know exactly.
Well, that was a question.
Yeah, I don't know that answer.
Okay,
But right now, to my knowledge, they did not need a variance for parking or anything else.
and if
The
I,
only thing they needed was the special use permit for the.
if I remember correctly, then they're not doing any breakfast or any food at all in that
Correct.
place at all.
Is, if it might have like a continental breakfast, but there is no restaurant in there.
I think we asked them that, if I remember on the
Yeah.
planning board, but doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, my point is sometimes they have, like, they have a little small room in the,
I think La Quinta might be one of them who,
Yeah.
I'm not 100%
but they
sure.
don't have a restaurant,
Right.
so.
So are you saying that, it could be, if we turn the extension down, they could go after us?
Correct.
Okay, because, I was back when we had the original one, which was, I think, probably a nicer hotel than La Quinta's.
Well, they were both by Wyndham.
Wyndham, but-
Actually, right, it was Wyndham and
But
Hawthorne. And
Okay.
this one, what they're looking at is it's La Quinta and Hawthorne, both of which are Wyndham properties.
well, they have different classes of.
I understand, but.
So,
it's-
anyway.
But I understand, but also be clear that it's a land use decision, not a
Yeah.
brand decision.
Yes, so my question was gonna be, I think and I couldn't find it, but I think back in 2019, we had some conditions. Do you know if any of those conditions, when
Yes,
when the new board took over and approved this, if those are
I
conditions?
believe those have. Yeah, this in fact says subject to all terms and conditions imposed as part of the original.
The original,
Yeah.
okay, that's the. Because I want to make sure it was the original from 19 and not the original from.
Well, again, that was a different approval.
Okay.
Because one of the things that in the 19, there were issues with regards to, again, with the larger hotel, it was a little tighter pack. But any conditions that were imposed as part of the 2023 approval, original approval in 2023 do carry forward. Again, the 2019 approval went away.
Be a great place to watch your fireworks.
It concerns me that. Want to make sure the concerns back from 19 were still addressed when this one was approved.
You can go check real quick. I'm just.
A little bigger print too.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
From my eyes, it is.
It will be.
Just keep living, right, Rick?
No, I have it's funny because I'm the opposite of most people.
All right.
I can see up close. Absolutely fine. Out there, it's a little soft focus. Okay, I'm just gonna pull it up, Mike, just to get you what those conditions were. Somebody beats me to it, feel free to. permit application, determination.
We're looking for the conditions on the 2019 approval.
Well, I'm not, right now, I'm just looking at what's on the current one. It's that it uses the existing entrance off of Minerva Campbell Way, or if relocating the entrance extends the existing sidewalk through the existing entrance, being abandoned in favor of the new. And then it also includes that any further approvals be obtained, including site plan approval from the planning board and any required variances at the zoning board of appeals. Were there any in addition to that on the, do you have the older approval, Becky?
Yeah, I pulled it up, so I'd be prepared. It says that the property be developed and operated consistent with the application materials. Traffic mitigation improvements called for by resolution 12-119 of 2016.
So those are going in, just so you know. So that's why this wasn't conditioned on it, because they already kicked in. In fact, there's
Okay.
be a light at that intersection going in.
Yeah, that the Fair Avenue Road improvements as per the attached town checklist be completed and Fair Avenue be successfully dedicated to the town
Which it
prior
was.
to the issuance of a C of O. And the last one is that Spalletta Constructions shall resolve in a timely fashion any unanticipated issues or negative impacts that may arise from the construction of the hotel, and that said resolution be done in a manner approved by the town. They're just those 4 conditions.
Thank you, Beck.
Thank you.
Thank you. So like I said, the ones with regards to Fair Avenue, that's already been dedicated. And the light was approved by the county. I don't know if we have a schedule yet as to when it's going in. I'm seeing my deputy town supervisor, Craig Eckert, shaking his head no. But that's in the county's hands at this point, but that light is going in. So those 2 are already taken care of. That's why they didn't carry forward. The other language, again, they already had done a lot of the site cleanup. If you remember when that site in 2019 was, they were doing a bunch of sifting and other work on that site that has since been done and cleaned up, my knowledge. So, yeah, and again, Mr. Eckert is shaking his head that it has been. So that's why those weren't carried forward by 2023. They were already resolved. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 3-66, 2024. To authorize the town supervisor to sign an agreement for advance payment for the acquisition of a portion of town land by the state of New York for the East Henrietta Road Improvement Project.
Second.
So again, they've got a project in place to improve East Henrietta Road from the thruway to the 390 overpass. As part of that, they are doing improvements to the sidewalks as well. And the pedestrian crossings. And so they are taking a small portion of the southeast corner of the Calkins Road intersection where Whitaker Cemetery is. And so they are paying us a fair market value for that small portion of the land they're taking. And for that to happen, you guys need to authorize me to sign it. We do have a meeting coming up with the state DOT to go over what their plans and improvements are for pedestrian and bicycle safety as well. So after we have that meeting, we'll come home with the actual documents and we'll share that with you guys at a future workshop meeting. So it hasn't been scheduled yet, but they just reached out today to try to set that up. I think it's going to be in early February. Any other questions?
I have one. On this project, when they do their project, Does the big stone that sits, Beers of the World Plaza, does
Yeah.
that have to be removed for them to do that side of the road?
So it doesn't have to necessarily be removed to do that side of the road. The issue is it's currently sitting within the right of way. They asked it to be moved, so we actually reached out to our, worked with the engineering department as well as our town historian
Okay,
to try to understand where exactly that early cemetery was. And it was actually across from the fairgrounds. So we then met with Frank Imburgia, who is the property owner of the plaza there, and we're actually gonna move it from the corner to the area that is to the west of the Beers of the World Plaza.
okay.
And so it will be out of the New York State DOT right away. It'll still be present, and it'll actually be closer to its original location than where it is today.
Great.
Because it, again, it was originally essentially across from the fairgrounds, which that included what's now Wegmans. That was where they had a track and other stuff. So,
Thanks.
yep.
Thanks, that.
Any other questions? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
All right,
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution 3-67, 2024, to authorize the town supervisor to sign the utility work agreement with the New York State Department of Transportation for the East Henrietta Road Improvement Project.
Second. So what this is for is years ago when they expanded Route 15. They expanded right over the top of our sanitary sewer instead of moving it. And so there are a number of manholes that are actually in the street. And as they repave, they're gonna have to shift the level of those the covers, and so this authorizes them to do that work on our sanitary sewers. Obviously, they have to do it to our standards and meet our requirements, but that's what this is for. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 3-68, 2024, to authorize the town supervisor to sign the notice of intent for the MS4 operator certification form for e-reports.
Second.
So again, MS4 is Municipal Separate Storm Sewer Systems. It's part of the state pollutant discharge elimination system, or SPEEDs. They're redoing the general permit. As part of that, we are required to essentially sign up to be part of the program again, and specifically with our notice of intent. So you can't enter an agreement such as that without town board approval, so that's what this is. Any questions, comments? I will note that there's a lot more paperwork involved going forward in these permits. We're having discussions right now for which part of it. Some of the work is us inventorying our systems. We're gonna have to bear that cost. Some of the work is additional investigative work and inspection and sign off and stuff like that for when new projects come in. So that we will probably do as a bill through. So we're trying to identify which stuff makes sense to do internally and which stuff makes sense to do as a bill through to the applicant. So again, this is essentially one of the things that frustrates us is this comes in after budgets are in place from the state. It's an unfunded mandate, and we have 6 months to get it up to speed. And again, nothing additional in our budget because our budget's already been approved. So that part's frustrating, but like I said, some of it, we should be able to recoup the costs through chargebacks to the developers. But there will also be some that Fortunately, we have some staff that we've had working on what's called GASB, which is Government Accounting Standards Bureau, recording of the system, so he should be able to do, hopefully be trained to do the work that's necessary for this with regards to storm water. But like I said, it's frustrating that they come out with it after the budget and then you're expected to complete it all within that same budget year. Right? Doesn't make sense. That's all, but any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 3-69, 2024. To authorize the advertisement of bids for the Lehigh Station Road Sanitation Sewer Extension Phase 2 project.
Second.
So this is, we had done phase one a few years ago, did it with community development block grant funds to help defray the costs. So that we could get the costs per house down for the district to a reasonable level. A number of the folks here, this is one of the older sections of town with regards to septics, and some of them are starting to fail. And part of the problem has always been that the other side of the street is the high school, which gets its sewer from the south side of the project. And so you're essentially doubling the cost burden to these homeowners as compared to a normal street where I have people on both sides of the street who would be contributing. So like I said, we were able to work with the community development block grant and do some other things to essentially defray that cost. So this section includes a pump station for the folks to the west of the existing section. And then the portion also includes a portion to the east, which is gravity fed. So I know the residents there are very excited about having this move forward. So glad we're able to finally get there. Any questions, comments?
Yeah, I'm just really happy about this also. So I know a lot of residents would not have been able to do this without that lateral coming in, and the block grant really helps them do that. So it's great.
Hearing and seeing no further comments, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 3-70, 2024. To authorize the advertisement of bids for the Riverton Municipal Golf Course irrigation pump station upgrade.
Seconded.
So as you know, we've been installing irrigation for phase one. We will, in the next resolution, award the bid response for phase two, which is essentially the sprinkler heads. And then this is essentially arguably phase three, but it's the pump station upgrade, which will be a new variable pump. We were able to design it such that it will drop right into the existing well houses, so we won't have to go through that large expense. It'll be new pump systems, variable pumps, which are better from we only need to pump as much water as needed. It's a computerized system now. It used to be where someone would have to go out and manually install the sprinkler heads. So they will only run as necessary and only pump as much water as necessary. So any questions, comments?
Can you just, I'm just kind of curious on how much, not on this part specifically, but in general, where we're going with the project, what the plan is. I mean, is it still the plan to find somebody to run the golf course someday?
No, our plan is for us to run it
All forever.
unless we find that it's not working to have us run it.
Okay. And
So it's, there's two aspects to the operation of the golf course. The first is the maintenance side of stuff. So that's more on the DPW side, although we did hire somebody who was previously a superintendent at golf courses, and he's a Henrietta resident. It's Charlie Ramel. He's a battalion chief also for Fire Company Number 2. He actually grew up working on that golf course. Very interested in seeing it come back to life. And then, so there's a couple people, you know, we added an additional position within the DPW grounds department to help essentially for mowing and maintenance and stuff like that. And then we've got included in the budget are a couple positions for on the recreation side to handle essentially the operations as in the golf course, the signing up of folks. We do expect this to be cash neutral or cash positive, probably not in year 1, but in subsequent years.
That's.
Mike, we are looking for people that might be interested in contractually running the food and beverage.
Right.
So we do have someone who's very interested in that. As soon as we close, they're gonna look and to see if that's something that you want to continue with, but that'd be very helpful for us.
I knew I mentioned several years ago when we talked about the issues with the golf course that we had back then and that somebody was interested then at that point in taking over all the operations. And so, anyway.
If that was the case, nobody ever came forward. So
Yeah, so you may have several people interested in operating the concession or the.
and that,
There's a
right, if
restaurant,
we were
right.
to do that, we'd have to go out to do some sort of bid. So
That's what I was gonna ask. Do we have to go out to a bid or?
we do. It at least has to be competitive in some form.
So how much should we estimated that it's gonna
I don't-
cost to get us into,
I don't have the number that was in the budget.
okay,
If you want to look in.
yep,
get
I'll
that,
look at, I
We'll
can look
we'll
at.
get that to you, but yeah, it was part of the budget process. I don't want to try to quote the number off the top of my head because I don't remember.
Right, okay.
But so far we are within budget. In fact, the very next bid came in about $7,400 under anticipated costs. So far, a lot of stuff's been coming in under. Our town crews have been doing a great job. A lot of the work we've been doing ourselves. You know, they've been doing a great job in getting it up and running and making improvements. So
But the next resolution is the one that kind of caught me off guard that I, saw the price of it. And I was kind of sticker shock like anything else. So.
yeah, I mean, again, so it's expensive, but it's the current irrigation system had lots of leaks, lots of problems, and again, it was a very manual process.
It wasn't maintained by.
I don't want to get into that, but like I
But
said,
it's original equipment, that's the.
Right, but it should have been upgraded over the years, but it
Right.
wasn't,
so
because somebody didn't.
again, let's avoid that. But so like I said, the other thing that then happens is if you're now doing your irrigation, you've got to have somebody out there doing the change of the sprinkler heads at odd hours. And oh, by the way, one of the things we don't want to do is have somebody out there alone.
Mhm.
So now you're talking 2 people out there. So again, in the long run, going to an automated system will actually reduce the costs. Again, the course is still going to be creating a number of new jobs for town employees in those positions I talked about previously. We put together the pricing for the course to use the course. It's still a very good deal. And like I said, if you run the numbers out, we should be cash neutral or cash positive on the operations.
Don't think I'm against it or, I'm just, when I'm seeing these, I'm kind of concerned with the cost and yeah, I do understand it costs money to get it in order because it's not.
Yeah, and so like I said, we put together a budget for it, both in terms of capital improvements and then the operating budget. And so far, like I said, we've been within budget. One of the things that from the capital expenditure side, and it's we're getting really close. One of the things we're looking at from the capital budget side is that to be able to afford to do this is we will get a large influx of capital from the sale of the DPW cell tower. That's essentially how we're able to afford to, it's the cell tower is more than we're spending on.
I have one question about that. I know Charlie's doing the work out there. Does he need anybody else to help him with the golf course that knows about golf courses also? That's done that kind of work?
In terms of,
Or anything like that?
yeah, so in terms of, you know, one of the things we were lacking in the grounds department in the past was really a promotional track. So this actually provides that. So we have a number of people in the grounds department who, you know, are very excited about. We have called assistant groundskeeper. And so, if you're talking about from that side of the, in terms of,
I'm talking about another person that has gone.
right, but my point is what type of golf course experience? So we've got Charlie who knows how to maintain the physical golf course itself. We have Josh Duncan, who's our foreman for facilities. He used to work at a golf course. In fact, I think it was Oak Hill, maintaining the equipment. So he knows how to handle the, you know, do the sharpening for the reel mowers, and that's REEL. And all the other type of equipment for that. And we did bring on an assistant for him who's working on, like right now, going through all the golf carts and getting them up to speed and such. If you're talking about somebody who's been in the business from a signing up clubs, organizing tournaments, that type of side of things, that will come under Pam Grumman, who's the Director of Parks and Recreation. That we have not hired that position yet. We have not posted that yet. But we will be hiring a couple people who work on there. But the thing is, I don't know that they're, again, I think that from the, what I'll call the management side of stuff, I think we're using the existing recreation supervisors. Craig Ross, I think, is the person who's been taking the lead on that. He and Pam. And then, but we will be hiring some, again, I don't remember what exactly the title is, but like recreational aides. Again, that's probably not the right title, but
Okay.
you know, so again, I don't know that we to date need somebody who is what I'll call higher end. We have those positions filled.
Okay. Just wondered, because you guys said you needed somebody for the to run the restaurant. Just wondered if Charlie would help with someone.
Yeah.
To help with what he's.
Charlie has all the licenses for insecticides and sprays and all that stuff, and he ran the whole county course.
Right.
He was in charge. He really knows the stuff. Okay. I've gone through him 2 or 3 times. He's given me a tour.
Yeah.
And,
So the restaurant is because we don't want to run food service, right?
or alcohol.
Or alcohol, right? So ultimately, what we're gonna look at is, you know, again, I don't know that in year one, there's gonna be much available from a food standpoint. But one of the things we're also gonna take a look at is, does it make sense to essentially create an out parcel pad for a restaurant? That, you know, maybe after we get going, you know, whether, first the question is whether that current building is salvageable from, you know, there's whether it makes more sense to expand or renovate and improve that existing building, or whether it makes more sense to demolish it. The maintenance building we're absolutely using, but that the existing building will absolutely be invaluable for this season because it's there and it's ready to go. And you know, so, but like I said, that's stuff we're going to explore. But the idea is it would be an outside. We'd go out to bid for somebody to come in and make those improvements. And and then operate the restaurant. And then what would happen is we would have attached to that would be a small portion, that's the clubhouse.
That's great. I've had a couple of people ask me about, they need someone to do this kind of job, so I'll let them know and they can.
Yep.
You know, respond.
Sounds good.
Yep. Thanks.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca.
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 3-71, 2024. To award the winning bid for the 2023 Riverton Municipal Golf Course Irrigation Phase 2 project.
Second.
So as mentioned, we went out to bid, we had 2 respondents. The way we broke it up, since they were discrete components that they're supplying, we basically said whoever had the lowest price on that particular section got that. So you'll notice, the one bidder, Ewing Irrigation, they had the lowest on most of the stuff, although Blair Supply had the lowest bid response to Section 8, which was the actual piping.
Okay.
And so, as I mentioned, that came in about $7,400 less than projected. The $5,000 additional, one of the things in here that we had to do was training on the control system. And how to program the sensors at each of the, basically each irrigation that has a control that's tied on this control network. Since it's one company that provides that, it didn't make sense to me to put it in the bid, because all that would happen is whoever was the prime and bid on it would add a markup to it. Whereas we can just contract directly with the customer. So that's what that extra $5,000 covered. That's only about, I think it was about $2,400 in training, but we also like a little extra just in case we find that, oh, we had to go around a tree and the pipe length got a little bit longer. Gotcha. So. Any other questions? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution 3-72, 2024 to rename the Riverton Golf Club to Riverton Oaks Municipal Golf Course and adopt the logo.
Second. So as we were discussing prior to the meeting, Riverton Oaks was actually the original name. Well, I don't know about original, but it was certainly a name of the golf course at one time. This golf course was originally built with federal, through a federal grant. And which again goes back to why when we were modifying the entrance, doing the deal with Forest Creek Equity to bring the trail around, we had to go through parkland alienation. And the parkland conversion, which is the federal process. But we wanted to differentiate it from the private Riverton Golf Club and their logo, which was the Riv. And so I actually drew this up as something to start with. We're gonna reach out to see if, look at, can we get some other ideas and, potentially have a contest for, especially for graphic art students who might want something in their resume.
Right.
But this gives us something to work with for the time being.
I think that's a great idea to reach out to the public and RIT in general for illustrations, because I think it'll create some excitement for the golf course. Do we have an anticipated time when this might open up to the public? Anything?
Early May.
Oh, that's great.
We have been being approached by a couple folks who are interested in. We have a, what do you call it, a golf team that is interested in using it is for their training. We've had a couple groups interested in events. There's folks who are interested in potentially forming leagues, so word is starting to get out. And we've also had a number of residents asking us for details on the pricing and such. Again, we have some stuff worked out. We'll be at one of the next board meeting or two. We're going to basically bring that schedule out forward and for discussion and approval with the price schedule. But we have a working schedule today. Okay. So, any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca.
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 3-73, 2024 to accept a proposal from Precision Safe Sidewalks LLC for the removal of hazardous sidewalks located within the Henrietta Highlands Estates subdivision.
Second.
So one of the things that they're not removing the slabs that are broken up, they are grinding the ones that are tripping hazards. These folks have done this in a lot of areas. We did get in response to a list of other towns.
I saw that.
So it will make the sidewalks a lot safer.
I don't know if that's the same company. I didn't see the list, but I don't know if it's the same company that was doing them down in near Orlando that when I was walking, I noticed they were all shaded and fixed like described in the plan.
Yeah, so the ones that are really broken up, we'll be pulling out and replacing, but the cost to replace all of them like that would have been exorbitant. So this allows us within our budget to do those improvements. And as to the question of will we be doing these in other neighborhoods as well in the future? Most likely, but again, we have a particular amount budgeted every year for sidewalk improvements, so. This was the area where the sidewalks were the worst and the most dangerous, so we prioritized it. Any other questions? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca.
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 3-74, 2024. To authorize the removal of an endangering tree at 553 Wildbriar Road and charge said expenses to the property.
Second.
So the tree still is present, still is hazardous. As we're bringing it down, we may not bring the entire tree down. If depending on as they start to remove the branches to see how through some of the cracks and twists go. But if necessary, we'll bring the whole tree down. It's a large willow tree. Some branches have already come down on their own, and it is overshadowing some of the neighboring properties. So, any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca.
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 3-75, 2024. To authorize the supervisor to sign the 2024 intermunicipal agreement with CHS Mobile Integrated Healthcare.
Seconded.
So I will note, you guys caught that the words in the thing didn't match dollar amounts. The dollar amounts were correct. The words were left over from the previous year. So they did fix those. I had talked to them about, I'm not a fan of the wording of that paragraph that talks about the town will pay, and then it later goes on to excuse it. I did talk with Frank Manzo from CHS Mobile about changing it. We decided that that's going to be a conversation for this fall for the next one, since this was supposed to have already been in place, and we didn't want to have to make it go back to the CHS board for approval since they already approved it, this one. It does make clear that we're only obligated to pay what we collect in taxes, but I just don't like the wording of it because it makes it sound like the town is obligating to pay, so.
I really think that's the way it was worded 2 years ago.
Oh, it's been like
Yeah.
that forever.
Right,
Yeah.
so, and I think we brought it up back then, and it just, as long as we're not obligated, here it is.
And we have brought that up in the past, and
Yeah.
that's why I just say, rather than having to bring that up every time, I'd rather reword it so it doesn't. Cause that's my first, you don't touch it for a year and your first thing you read it, it's like, wait a minute, this is saying no, it's not, so. Anyway, but we do have it on the schedule. And for, like I said, we'll be having that discussion this Friday. I have some proposed wording changes. They've got to go back to their board and make sure they're okay with it. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 3-76, 2024. Whereas Janice Buds has donated $300 to the Henrietta Public Library for the acquisition of large print materials. And whereas a check in the amount of $300 was received by the library director, therefore be it resolved that the Henrietta Town Board acknowledges this donation and thanks Janice Buds for her generosity.
Second.
Well, note that Janice donates money pretty much every year. She's been a long time supporter of the library, and it's very appreciative of people like Janice. She's not the only one who supports our library, but it really helps provide new material and services, and it's great that our library is so beloved in the community. Any questions, comments?
Thanks, Janice. I do recognize her name.
And hearing and seeing nothing further, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution 3-77, 2024 to update the appointed officers of the town.
Second. So one of the things that happens a lot, you get to the organizational, you start with the previous year's organizational meetings. However, between last year's organizational meeting and this year's organizational meeting, we added another officer to the town. That's the golf course superintendent, Charlie Ramel. So we do have, they did put a note in for next year's organizational meeting, so he'll be part of it. So that's what was missed. So that's what's being updated. Any other questions, comments?
Congratulations to all our new officers and to everybody. A lot of responsibility.
And please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 3-78, 2024 to hire personnel, make the attached changes, and authorize the attendance incentive pay.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 3-79, 2024 to amend the deposit amount for the Argini streetlight conversion.
Second.
So we had previously approved this, but unfortunately, when I had put that resolution together, I had a cut and paste error. There were two dollar amounts that were very similar. The purchase price and this deposit amount. So this deposit is in lieu of a letter of credit. Letter of credits are difficult for us to do, so we decided to go with the cash deposit route. But basically, it's, once we acquire the streetlights, we are required to put in electrical disconnects. Now, Centrica is doing that work. That's all part of the energy performance contract. But basically this, what this dollar amount represents is if they don't do the work within the allotted amount of time, then our G&E will come in and do the work and get paid out of this deposit.
Gotcha.
As the work gets completed, this money will be returned to us. So,
Great.
any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca.
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, I have the last resolution.
Oh, yeah. On mine, it says me, okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it says say we're Councilman Page here, so.
I was looking at. Go ahead.
Okay.
My computer is mine.
To authorize the town supervisor to sign the real estate purchase and sale contract and closing documents for the land transfer with Forest Creek Equity Corporation for property at Riverton Municipal Golf Course.
Seconded.
Did you do something?
He did some of them.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, so. Yeah, so basically this was the final step in that, the parkland alienation and parkland conversion process. All the, basically our real estate attorney has put everything together and, will now transfer the land again. We're getting the swap for the acreage is about 1.5 times the acreage plus an additional, close to an additional acre being donated to the town. So we're getting essentially in return for the 1 acre we're giving up of that former access road that went right through the middle and kind of bisected parcel A. We are getting 2.5 acres back. The thing about that, parcel A was set up really strangely for a road to have crossed that path. They would have had to gone through parkland alienation. So when we were doing the Riverwalk Trail, as part of our LWRP, we had to figure out how to get it past the golf course. So it presented a perfect opportunity. It was beneficial. It was beneficial to the developer who owns parcel A to get rid of that parkland through the middle. It was beneficial to us to obtain a trail around the east side of the golf course so people can safely walk past the golf course without being struck. So great solution and happy it's finally coming to a close. Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, for the golf course, I have one question, because is the disc golf still gonna be a part of our golf course?
The disc golf is actually in what used to be called Riverbend Park. So yes, that is still there.
Okay,
But that's essentially separate from the golf course. It's
Right.
part of the same park, but like I said, it was originally Riverbend Park. If you look, in fact, on the satellite images, you can see that there were at one time baseball diamonds there. But they have since overgrown. Yeah, you can still make out in the satellite imagery or aerial imagery, you can still make out the infield because the grass has grown differently. But yeah, that was originally baseball. But it was never used, and so it had overgrown, and we were approached by an individual who was interested in turning it into an 18-hole disc golf course, and he did so, and it's been fairly successful.
Okay.
So that is staying.
all right.
Any other questions? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye,
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. That concludes our resolutions. Do we have any discussion items or comments from the public?
Yes, Kevin, good evening, Kevin Yost, 1474 Middle Road. I realize there's been a couple turnovers in town council members since I last spoke a few months ago with the idea of either restoring the um, uh, uh, fitness, fitness trail here along Lehigh, what's now part of the Lehigh Trail and the west end of Veterans Park, or putting a four-sided um, uh, fitness kiosk, and likewise with part of the trail on Breeze Park, and then four-sided fitness trails, fitness kiosks at Lookup Park, and maybe Martin Road Park, and maybe also Hoskins Park as well, and that those could be perhaps by a private citizen such as myself or somebody else doing a GoFundMe or Kickstarter walk, or this I picked up somewhere. It's been on my refrigerator for a few years, and I think it still exists. Awesome Foundation Rochester would donate $1,000. Of course, the fitness kiosks or trails would be Play World Systems out of Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, and then I also in past town board meetings I'd brought up the idea of 2 additional golf holes in Lookup Park to replace those lost. The dog park could also be by this, or Kickstarter or GoFundMe, and also this idea would have to come from town and county tax dollars, and Supervisor Schultz and I discussed it over email, and that doesn't think it's a good idea. I don't know what their town board members think of it. The Memorial Drive in the early to mid 2000s, and the Breeze administration was zigzagged so as to replace the bridge over the creek and keep the park open. It's kind of a nuisance zigzagging, and also the fact that it doesn't, that it and its traffic light with Calkins Road doesn't correspond with Strawberry Hill Road across Calkins Road, and it would have to excavate that part of the hill, and any trees removed would have to be replaced where Memorial Drive is now, and move the sidewalks and curbing along Memorial Drive, and then the county would have to move the traffic signal and the pedestrian walk signals, and the slab, the sidewalk slabs where Memorial Drive is now, and curbing and the street lamps that Wegmans had donated where Memorial Drive is now. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just let you know, Kevin, there was a group who was forming a Friends of the, I think it's going to be called Henrietta Parks and Recreation, but it's essentially a friend organization. It will be a charitable organization where people can make donations to for improvements to town parks and town recreation facilities. So they're currently forming that. Once it gets formed, I'll make sure to send you an email to let you know.
Yes, I know. Well,
Please.
Rush has I get there. I has something. I guess some group with the Riverside, where the old the old it was bow season before that. It was I think it was I'm not sure which one is which, and it was Riverside Refuge, and has a group there. I don't think they do all Rushtown parks, but I get their emails.
Anyone else? Do we have any committee or miscellaneous reports from the board?
First of all, from the youth board, obviously the focus now is ramping up for the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. The selection process is going to be happening on Monday, coming up at 6 p.m. It's a really difficult process. There are so many fantastic candidates, and trying to narrow it to 26 is a really arduous process, and I look forward to it, but don't look forward to it in the same way. Coming up on Saturday, January 27th, Teen Night at the Rec Center. Library has a lot of stuff going on. I'd like to highlight on Thursday, February 8th. MCC Professor Mark Sample is going to be doing a presentation and talk on the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the role that Martin Luther King Jr., Lyndon Johnson played in that. That is a registration required event. On February 10th, there is a Teen Dungeons Dragons event from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock at the library. That evening, at the Rec Center, the Cupid and Cupcakes Valentine's Dance is happening from 6:30 to 8:30. I expect that all of you will be there dancing. Cupcake. Okay, fair enough. On Valentine's Day itself, there is a Crafternoon Valentine's Day event at the library. They're making wreaths to send to a loved one. All materials are provided, but wear clothes to make sure if you get messy, you're not going to want to have to replace them. And finally, on Thursday the 15th, representatives from the Monroe County Public Health Team will be at the library to offer information, support, and also do a quick 5-minute Narcan training. And anyone who completes the training will receive a Narcan kit. Registration not required. And I talked to Adrian this morning. She's very excited that we also now have, for all of our patrons, electronic access to the New York Times and all of its features. So you can call the New York Times and cancel your subscription. Save yourself a little money.
It's not good for the printers. Don't do that. Sorry.
I'm good.
Okay, I'd like to report that I attended the CHS Board of Directors meeting. The big news there is that they've decided to go ahead now and build the extension on the garage that they canceled. That's in the works with our engineering department. I attended the Russian Area School Board meeting last night. And the highlight for me was they presented the 2024 budget, but on the revenue side. The one before they did the expenditure side, but this was the revenue side. It looks like their budget's going to be somewhere in a $103 million range. And then today, when I was doing the bills, I was here for about an hour and a half. I had the enjoyment, the pleasure of listening while I was doing the bills to the assessment and tax department across the street, next to Linda's office. In that time, there must have been 40 to 45 people come in, most of them seeking information around tax breaks and tax relief based on their income. And I need to tell you that the customer service that I witnessed today there was second to none. It was world-class. Not one person raised their voice. Not one person forgot to say, thank you, you've been helpful. It was incredible. And Becky, your team has now been challenged for the most user-friendly customer service award for 2024.
So from the fire department, just had, at the end of the year, they total up all their calls and what they've been on. So for last year, there was just under 7,200 calls they went out on. Of those calls, about 50% of them were rescue and emergency medical service incidents. About 23% were false alarms, and of 156 of those calls were actual fires that resulted in about just over $4 million in losses. So just some numbers I thought people might be interested in on the fire, what the fire department's doing.
Mike, I want to jump in right there and say I would love to see that particular number up on the signs in front of the fire departments. And when I go through small towns and I look at, hey, Caledonia responded to 350 calls in a year. 7,200 is a staggering number.
I think
it's incredibly impressive.
I think that's right behind this city of Rochester. I mean, I think it's city of Rochester and then us, if I'm not mistaken.
But at the same time, and Mike will confirm that all the calls, some of them are mutual aid and A lot of them are medical, you know, we help rush out a lot, they help everybody out, but I monitor their calls, they put me on their system, it's unbelievable. I
Right.
mean, they'll have 35 calls in a day.
And I do have, I mean, it's funny, 42%, 42% of the time it's, 42% of the time there are multiple calls at once. Which it's funny, Rick, I'm sure you're on the bricks, and it seems like they won't have any calls, and then all of a sudden it will go off three times right in a row. You know, they do a lot of fire prevention with the schools. I have some other, you know, I got the information here, but you know, they have, the 55 volunteers, and 73 career and firefighter EMTs on staff. Yeah, it's always, you know, they stay quite busy.
And like the ambulance too, they have an extremely high level of training. They train all the time. It's incredible.
And the other thing that a lot of people don't realize is how much, you know, how many calls they have out to the thruway in 390. I mean, they cover 40 miles of the New York State thruway and then 17 miles of 390. So I mean, it's incredible amount of travel on the roadways.
Rob, if you could, speak on the Martin Luther King celebrations.
Get out prepared for that, Mr. Supervisor.
Unfortunately.
I know you missed it because you were sick, and I know Steve has also been a keynote speaker at that event. That inter clergy council, along with our Repton School District and our town, we promote the Martin Luther King celebration that's held over at there's two guardian angels, or should I say Mary Ann Cope.
Yeah, it's the Guardian Angels at Marianne Cope or the other?
Yeah, it's at something. And it's a beautiful facility, and it was the best crowd ever. We had a lot of great singing. It was kind of like church. Rick was there. I know Michael was out of town and couldn't attend. We had two outstanding scholarship winners, two young ladies. One got a scholarship for $1,000, the other for $500. At the event, we always ask for donations from the crowd, and they raised over $1,000 by passing the pans there at the church. Unbelievable. Maybe next year we'll have enough money to do 3 scholarships. I know they're looking at a way to kind of raise money other than that for the students, because we all know the cost of education, how high it is, and how, you know, parents can't really afford to pay for their kids' education, and everybody's strapped with loans. So it was a very uplifting event, and glad I was there to attend again this year. I think that's the 4th year, and it's just outstanding. I'm looking forward to next year being even better. But I just want to commend everybody in the planning. It was very good. Nerlan, our assistant superintendent of schools, does a great job, organized everything, and her secretary, Noreen, does a great job getting all the emails out, making sure everything's in order. So it was a great event. Also attended our diversity and inclusive committee meeting, a couple of meetings. We had a sub-meeting one night also. Big concern with residents that we found out at this meeting is housing, the cost of rental. It skyrocketed. And so they formed a subcommittee to kind of look at that and kind of almost look how we can help people get around some of the unfair housing issues that are happening. You know, complexes or landlords wanting a first and last month's rent, you know, instead of just a security deposit, things like that. And there were a lot of concerns there. So that was very interesting. I also attended the historical committee meeting, and Gary and I and the rest of the members were gonna do a meeting at the church. We had a church of the firstborn for the community at some point in the future. Date hasn't been reached. But all very interesting, and Glad to be back on the board.
Thank you very much. The state of the town address is coming up. I've started working on that. In addition to being at the luncheon for the Henrietta Chamber of Commerce, there will be large portions of it also included in the next town newsletter, so that's coming out, end of February. Suppose I should pull up the actual date.
February 27th,
All right.
11 o'clock or 11:30?
30, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's RIT and Conference Center. So, again, that's long been a fundraiser for the Chamber of Commerce, who also does scholarships, and, other programming. So, that's about it.
Speaking of scholarships, how's the scholarship that you set up at RIT?
Good. In fact, BME, this recently donated an additional $500 in
That's
Peter
great.
Minotti's name. And when I was the president of the Monroe County Supervisors Association, when that term completed, they wanted to do a donation in my name, so I had them put it towards the scholarship as well, so.
That's great.
And then recently, the market growth has actually been very strong, so I did just get a report. If you want, I can bring that in and share that. with
Well, I'd like to
folks
know. That'd be great.
at the next workshop. But,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been growing, so, we actually created 2 scholarships, that it was designed after the city scholars that the Desslers had started, but, it's essentially a town scholar, so, it goes to a, Henrietta resident, and essentially works to make up the difference between any financial aid they get and a full ride at
Wow.
RIT. So, one I did in my parents' name, and one we did in Peter Minotti's name, so.
Well, kudos to you and your wife for setting up those things. That's great.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing, well, actually, let's try about this. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I will second. Hearing no objection.